Greetings. Today we're going to be taking a look at a fairly new offering from Olight. This is their I3T EOS flashlight. This particular flashlight is a non-rechargeable flashlight and it uses a single AAA battery. The maximum light output is 180 lumens. It is a two-mode flashlight. It will run at 180 lumens or a 5 lumen mode. This particular light has a TIR optic lens which produces a soft and balanced beam. It's also equipped with the famous dual direction pocket clip for multiple different carrying options such as your pocket or your backpack strap and so on. I like the dual direction pocket clip because you don't have to pop off the clip, switch it around, you know, if you want to clip it on your hat or what have you. So I talk about that in every Olight product review that I do. It's just a really convenient clip design. Anyway, this particular light carries a retail of $19.99, so it's very, very reasonable. Ships in the standard Olight packaging. It's their nice little white box that it's got a little tear tab on it. On the back is just some technical information about it, and then of course information about the 5-year warranty and so on. So I've talked about the packaging. The packaging of the Olight products is really good. I do really like the new packaging, the white box versus the older black boxes, but I get kind of caught up with some of the more trivial things of products, and that's how they're packaged. So once we get the flashlight out, we've got the flashlight here. Clip's already pre-installed, and there's a little a README warning note right there that tells you have to remove a little protective pad that's inside next to the battery. And that's basically so while in storage or shipment or what have you, the battery doesn't drain when it's not being used. So first thing you'll do is we'll remove that. On the back side of this packaging, inside here we have our instruction manual, and I do believe that is it. Okay, sorry for the momentary distraction. I was just checking to see if this actually included a lanyard, and it does not. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to remove the tail cap. And inside of the tail cap is this little yellow protective piece, so we remove that so the flashlight will actually work. And you can see that there is a single AAA battery installed. This is a GM Cell Super Alkaline. Looks like a standard AAA battery. It's not a rechargeable battery, and I do not believe you can use a rechargeable battery in this. The tail cap, you can see the tail cap is spring loaded. It's a fairly decent spring with a good amount of tension on it, and it's also got an O-ring, as you can see right there. It is O-ring protected to keep moisture out. This does carry a IPX8 water rating, so that's good. The clip obviously goes on one spot only in this recessed area. You cannot reposition it, and really you don't need to. The dual function clip, in case you haven't seen that before, you can clip something on this way or you can clip something on this way. So if you wanted to put this on the rim of your hat and have light shining down in your immediate work area, you can easily do that. And of course you can clip this in your pocket or on your backpack. So really like this clip. A lot of flashlights on the market, they just have a standard clip, and if you want to change the orientation of how you carry the light or how you clip it onto something, you have to pull the clip off and flip it around. I never really cared for that. So this design is really nice. So you're pretty much going to get this with all of the Olight flashlights. All right, so let's see, let's talk about some specs on this. The candela on this is listed as 900. The lumens is 800. Obviously, the beam distance is 60 meters or 196 feet. So it has a pretty wide, broad hotspot and good projection. Obviously, I can't demonstrate that here, but all of the Olight flashlights have very similar light output. And as far as I'm concerned, I can't really complain about that. You know, the only real difference is, depending upon the flashlight you get, you may have a 100 lumen, 200 lumen, 300, 500, what have you. And that's really the main difference. You know, the larger flashlights are going to put out more light. And the smaller flashlights with the smaller batteries are not going to put out as much light. And then you get into functionality like this particular light's non-rechargeable and uses a standard disposable AAA battery. Some of the more expensive lights include rechargeable batteries that you have to remove from the flashlight and plug the battery in to charge it. And even some of the more expensive ones are rechargeable to where you plug a USB cable directly into the flashlight to charge it. So that kind of goes back to what I was saying about Olight, and they have so many flashlights to fit every possible need, and this is just one more of those. This is what I would consider a Penlight flashlight. It's a little bit thicker than a pen. This fits in my jacket. One of my jackets has holders for ballpoint pens on the sleeve. And this is where I carry this particular flashlight because it fits in there just fine. Again, on this flashlight at $19.99, you're not going to get a lot of programmability and secondary buttons and so on. You've got a single raised button on the back, so obviously that's not going to allow you to set this on end. But if you're holding it like this, you've got real easy access to the button. And you've got two modes. You've got your momentary, which is just pressing and holding, or if you press and hold until it clicks like that, it's constant on. Click to turn it off. So if we momentary press it, we get the 5 lumen mode. We momentary press it again, we go to 180 lumens. And when you reach the mode you want, press it further until it clicks on, and there you go. The default mode, obviously, when you initially go to grab this, it's the 5 lumen mode. So that's the functionality. That's real basic right there. Standard matte black finish on this. We have some knurling right here down here where the tail switch is, and that's so you can easily grasp the end to unscrew it. And in the center, let's see, what does Olight calls this their, let's see if you can see that. They call this their double helix body knurling for unique style and solid grip. Yeah, it's that's what they call it. So it's a nice little design on there. You also have the I3T EOS model number right there. And let's see what else we got here. Now the tech specs for this list an optional charger, but they don't really talk about an optional rechargeable battery. So I don't have any rechargeable AAA batteries. I have never had a need to own any of those, so I don't own any. I don't know if they'll work in this, so you know, take that for what it's worth. They list this series as a keychain series, but this isn't really a keychain flashlight per se. Sorry, we're getting out of frame there. There's really no facility to connect this to a keychain, and there's no hole for a lanyard either. Now, if you wanted a keychain light, you know, to me, this Olight is the keychain light right here. This is the I1R. I did a review on this a little while ago. It's a little teeny rechargeable keychain light. So if you want something for your keychain, I'd probably look at this one. This is definitely not your keychain solution. Let's see. Yeah, I'm just checking through my talking notes here to see. There's no strobe mode, there's no SOS mode, anything like that. It's IPX8 waterproof, like I mentioned. The weight on it is 1.45 ounces. The length is 3.5 inches. The head diameter is 0.59 inches, so it's a little over half an inch. The LED is a Philips Luxon TX. And the battery, in case you really want to know, is a 1.5 volt alkaline AAA battery. So that's pretty much all the talking notes I have on this. So what do I think? Well, since I've been using this, I have no issues with this. The battery doesn't rattle around. The spring holds the battery tight in place at any angle. I've dropped this a few times and picked it up, and some cheaper flashlights, you drop them once and they stop working, or the battery jiggles around because the spring is too weak. I've never experienced any of those issues with the Olight flashlights. This one fits good on my jacket, in my pen pocket. That's where this one lives. If I had to say something, I would comment that I don't like the low lumen mode being the default mode. I would prefer the default mode be the high lumen mode. That's my personal preference, but that's not how this is designed. The first press of it gives you the low mode, and the second press gives you the high mode. That's the only thing that I would mention here that I don't particularly care for. The light output on this is really good. 180 lumens with a AAA battery is real nice. That doesn't sound like a lot, but it is quite a bit. I also like the raised buttons. I like the texturing on the raised buttons. I like the click style buttons. I like to be able to click, but I also like going momentary. So you have dual functionality with this button. I really like the button design. You're seeing that on more of their flashlights, especially their inexpensive ones. Like I said, on the inside of here, now this particular one doesn't have the solid spring-loaded metal contact. This actually has a spring. Now this is a fairly new flashlight, and I've only been using this for a few weeks now, so not that looking inside of there is of any value, but I've always been leery of these springs, especially if they're really weak. Now this is a really strong spring, but I really like what some of the flashlight manufacturers are doing with the solid metal contact that's spring loaded. But this hasn't caused any issues whatsoever, and of course with the O-ring protection we keep water out. I don't test these to the point where I'm dunking them in water, but I do use flashlights when it's raining out and it's wet and my hands are wet. I've never had any issues with water getting into any of the Olight flashlights, and I own quite a few of them. So we've got all my talking points covered. I think at $19.99, this is a really good buy. You can get this directly from Olight's website. I'll put the link in the description. This fits a specific niche, in my opinion. This is a flashlight that I could carry in a lot of different situations. I could also give these as gifts. One thing I don't when I'm buying flashlights as gifts, one thing I don't like to give people are flashlights that use CR1238 batteries. Every time I give a flashlight like that as a gift, when the battery does go dead, the recipient of the gift tries to go down and buy the batteries, and CR1238 batteries are not a common battery that you find at a local drugstore or grocery store. So having a flashlight that's either rechargeable to give as a gift, or one that uses standard batteries like a AA or a AAA is a real advantage for me. And this is really a good size. You can keep this in the purse, you can keep it in the car, you can keep it in your go bag. It's got plenty of light for jogging at night to illuminate the path in front of you, and you got a fairly decent runtime with the AAA battery. So anyway, that's going to wrap up this tabletop review of the Olight I3T EOS flashlight.